So, hello, my name is Alex T, and this is my channel. So, right now, I just want to talk about books. So, we all have books that we love, that we prefer, but we don't usually talk about the books that we didn't like. So, in this video, I will just talk about two books that I didn't like. And first of all, they're not bad books per se. Some of these books have earned awards. It's not about how they were written, but just about the message they sent. And, kind of like the characters were not that I like, and they were not for me. I bought the books. Well, one of them was a present, and I like to read before I set up an argument, my judgment, and my judgment was that they were bad. So, the first one is The Life of Pi by John Martel. It's the winner of the Man Booker Prize, and because of the movie about this kid who gets shipwrecked with a tiger, and he won an Oscar for visual effects. And it's an interesting movie, but there's just I have some problem with it. And first of all, it's like we take too long to know this character, and this character is supposed to be this great kid, Pi, which is great at three religions. He's a great Hindu, great Muslim, and a great Christian. Whatever. And the entire plot of the book, the main conflict is that he has to survive the sea living with a tiger. And the issue is that at the end, spoilers alert, at the end of the movie and at the end of the book, we find out that the tiger was never real. Like, the animals were never real. Like, all the animals were humans, and they end up, killing each other, and which is like the true horror, and it only changed because having a tiger is a more interesting story, which that's BS. I don't like to be deceived during the books. I know some books that all pretend, but I want to be on it, and I want to figure it out by myself and have like a cool twist. But this twist was just the author fooling us because his main premise wasn't that interesting at all. So yeah, I'm leaving with Take Alive. So the second book is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. Another, just a young adult. I actually bought it because I thought it was about, finding friendship when you're gonna die. But the issue is that the book is about this world where everybody knows you're gonna die like in 24 hours. So you get a phone call between 2 and 3 in the morning, which they tell you, hey, unfortunately, you're gonna die. They don't tell you how, and there's no way to change your destiny. So the problem with it is that everybody in the world says like this is a great thing, because now you can set things in order. You can live however you want for the last 24 hours. But that's terrible because every single day you're gonna be thinking, oh, what if I get the phone call today? And we only, as a humans, we know we're gonna die, but the only thing we can cope with it is to ignore it temporarily. And in this book, this is a dystopia because you're gonna be thinking about that every single day. And a big deal that I found, that it angers me about this book is that the characters do nothing about it. Oh well, I'm gonna die, so better do something to enjoy, and it's all about what the author thinks, what is a life worth living. If you spend your time playing video games, it's not a worth life, which, BS. You don't have to be traveling or doing like all these exciting things all the time to have a cool life. It's all about enjoying your life as best as you can. And one of the biggest problems I have with the book is that all the deaths become self-fulfilling prophecies. Most all of the example, with a few exceptions, is because the characters decided to do something different because they were gonna die. So if they didn't receive the phone call, they probably would have stayed alive. For example, the family of one of the main characters, they all get the phone call except him, And so they're thinking, okay, what are we gonna do on the last day of our existence? And they decided, let's go to this cabin, which right at the time it's winter in New York, so the roads are all frozen. So when they're driving, the car skids and they fall to the river, and because it's a family of four, then the three family members save the main character's life, and after his life is saved, they stop fighting because hey, they're gonna die, so they stop fighting for their lives, and if they didn't receive the phone call, they would have stayed at home. They may will be alive, and there's a lot of examples like that. There's a lot of examples of people who die just because they thought they were gonna die, and they changed their schedules, they changed their plans. Um, the main character, he's an overly cautious kid who really wants to save his life, but because he got the phone call, he says, "Well, let's see what I can do, like living outside." And another spoiler, there's a stove that is not working properly, and his neighbor was supposed to fix it, but because he's gonna die, he tell him, "Don't fix it. My dad is gonna fix it when he gets out of the hospital because he's in a coma." So he leaves that note. He goes, lives his life, falls in love. He's having all this high. He comes back. He completely forgets the stuff is not working, and he turns it on. He starts a fire. That's how he dies. So it's kind of like if he didn't receive the phone call, if he could keep living his life like he was living his life, he will still be alive. Uh, and this is like a story about a dystopia, and it's not treated as a dystopia, which is for me that was the biggest problem. And also another problem I have with the book is its message, saying like the message simply is you should live as much as you can because you're going to die one day, which everybody says that, but that's not what life is about. You should be living because life is worth living. Yeah, you're gonna die one day, but it's not because. But that's how you shouldn't be having that fear because you're not gonna enjoy life, which was that's the message of the book. You kind of say like, yeah, you can even if you have 24 hours, you can still live as full as you can, and the message is carpe diem, live your life as this was your last. Well, you know what, you're not gonna be able to maintain that. That's not healthy, because if you keep living your life without long-term plans, you're gonna have a hard time. So that's what it is. You can see I have not this is like a new video, so this is only one video. This is my first one, so I'm gonna be trying to do more of this. Gonna give my links down the line so you can follow and give me suggestions. Like down the line in my Twitter and Instagram. Shout out to Marisa, who responded that her worst book that she read was Crime and Punishment. She didn't tell me why, but to each their own. I haven't read that book, so I don't know what she's talking about. So thank you. Don't forget to like and subscribe or whatever you guys do on this video. So have a nice day.